Cuba, a beautiful place to live with a significant meaning, one of the few communist countries in the world. However, it encompasses such an interesting life that feels like a different world, a different time. If you're curious about what doesn't exist in Cuba, let's start with unemployment. Everyone is directed according to their talents during education, and there is less than 3% difference in people's salaries. This means that a member of parliament and a waiter earn equal salaries. There is no worry about what will happen to my child. Perhaps there is no greater wealth than not worrying about one's child. Women are required to receive sports, health, and child-rearing education during pregnancy. As the children are considered part of the state, all kinds of education are equal and completely free. There are no homeless people on the streets. In the most advanced country in the world, the United States, 4 million homeless people live on the streets. But in Cuba, no one is without a home, and the state provides free accommodation for everyone. There are no people with body odor. Soap, shampoo, deodorant, perfume, and personal care products are given free of charge by the state every month, and they are all Cuban-made. There is no fear of being cheated. All shops and businesses are state-owned, and since workers, waiters, employees are accepted by the state, their salaries are paid by the government. Prices are also determined by the state, so there is no chance of being deceived, and all products are partially free for Cuban citizens. When you exceed the limit, you can buy what you want at very low prices. There is no money. The highest salary is 30 euros, but most people find this unnecessary because everything is generally free. If you want, the government sends you and your family to a chosen place within the country for a vacation every year. There are restaurants and entertainment centers in all countries where only the rich can enter and poor people cannot afford. But in Cuba, you can enter everywhere. There is no discrimination. Since money is not used in the country, a worker and a doctor can easily go to the same restaurants and entertainment centers. Children do not even need to buy a pen until they complete their university education. Everything is abundantly provided by the state. There are no hospital expenses or travel expenses, and all citizens of the country can eat whatever they want. The government distributes 2 kilograms of red meat per person every month. An 8-kilogram red meat supply enters a 4-person family per month. Where else in the world can you find this? All food products are organic. Therefore, it is forbidden to establish chicken farms. Chickens are naturally raised in gardens. The use of hormones is strictly prohibited. There is no domestic violence. Couples, whether women or men, are sentenced to a minimum of 5 years for the slightest physical harm they cause to each other. There is no concern for health. Cuba, an island country with a population of 12 million, is at the forefront of medicine and can treat 80% of fleet-level diseases. There are 50,000 doctors in the country. They provide free health care not only in their own country, but also in all South American countries. They even provide free health care in many poor regions of Africa. There is no divorce, because they could not have fun. Since there are no concerns about sharing property, assets, alimony, or money, instead of dealing with unnecessary paperwork for divorce, they celebrate their marriages with friends and relatives in a festive manner called agreement, verbal agreement. Electricity and water are free up to a certain limit, but if you exceed the limit, you make a small payment. The reason for this payment is to prevent the waste of energy. They give incredible importance to nature. If you harm a stray animal or cut down a tree without permission, you can be sentenced to high-level imprisonment. The government regularly distributes food for all stray animals. All stray animals have identification tags with information such as their date of birth, name, health condition, gender, and the area they live in. Veterinarians in the vicinity are obligated to perform monthly health checks and send reports to the government according to the area where the animal lives, as indicated in their identification tag. There are no advertisement billboards anywhere since there is no competition for making money or economic competition. Whatever job you do, there is no workday longer than 6 hours. People can give more importance to their families and social lives. Dance, music, and entertainment are essential parts of life. The festivities continue uninterrupted for 365 days, 24 hours. The entire young population is involved in several sports disciplines, but martial arts and horse riding are among the top sports. Cuban streets are filled with colorful antique cars. Although car purchases are allowed, people prefer antique vehicles more than new cars. The highest car price is indeed 100 euros, and the state provides you with the model you choose for a monthly payment of €2. Cuba has opened its doors to the world only a few years ago, after a long struggle following the uprising initiated by Fidel Castro in 1953. With the participation of Ernesto Che Guevara, the dictatorship collapsed and a communist regime was established. Until a few years ago, America considered Cuba the world's most dangerous country and claimed that Cuban communists were hiding nuclear weapons. However, with the full support of the people and especially with the support of the Soviet Union, the regime managed to survive. You can see posters of Ernesto Che Guevara and Castro all over the country. They also have respect for all leaders who have fought against imperialism worldwide. However, there is only one statue of a foreign leader in the country, and that is the great leader Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. Nobody in Cuba is unaware of Atatürk. He has a special value for them. The country's crime rate is almost zero. In a country with a population of 12 million, there are an average of 2 or 3 theft cases per year, and the people are incredibly happy. Some of the world's most beautiful beaches are there. The majority of their land has been declared national parks by the state, and it is strictly forbidden to harm or touch wildlife. This is considered one of the gravest crimes. Surprisingly, there are no poisonous plants in the country, and their forests are filled with natural fruits. If you happen to visit Cuba, you can almost see a cigar in the hands of all adults. Smoking cigars is an old tradition for them, and it is consumed more than cigarettes. There is no discrimination based on religion in the country. No one will ask you about your religion, nationality, or occupation because these things are not important in Cuba. In fact, Malcolm X, the former leader of American Black Muslims, was a close friend of the Cuban leader Castro, and he has said, "Cuba is my second homeland." However, a significant portion of the houses still reflects old Cuba. Due to the embargo imposed by the United States for about 40 years and international pressure, Cuba has been isolated from the rest of the world, and its development has only recently been completed. All houses, streets, everything has begun the process of renewal in order without damaging the texture of the cities. In fact, all houses are being built to be colorful and have gardens. Especially newlyweds are allocated free houses with gardens by the state. Take a look at this house. This is the house where Castro spent most of his life. A state leader, a commander, lived in this house. His neighbor is an elderly woman. The church in America labeled Cuba as the devil's country hostile to religion for 40 years. The people, who never forget the pressures and wars they have experienced for many years, remember Castro and Che with tears of joy. Today, it is one of the rare countries in the world with a livable, humane, and preserved nature, where people do not think about what will happen tomorrow. You can subscribe to my channel to reach more content.